What's up, Bears fans? The Windy City just got a little louder today, and for good reason. Big news is breaking out of Chicago, and it's the kind that makes you stop what you're doing, grab your coffee, and say, wait, what just happened? Because the Bears have made a move that's got the entire NFL talking. That's right, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is officially joining the Chicago Bears 53-man roster. And trust me, this isn't just another mid-season signing. This one carries some serious weight, both on the field and inside the locker room. Now, let's be honest. Nobody saw this coming. When the news dropped, it caught just about everyone off guard. I mean, we're talking about a player who's been on quite the NFL tour over the last couple of years. He's been with the Saints, the Eagles, the Lions, the Texans, and even spent a brief stint with the Ravens practice squad before asking for his release. And now, boom, he's wearing navy and orange. It feels like he's lived a lifetime in the league already, but believe it or not, the guy is only 27 years old. So what's really going on here? Why would the Bears, an organization that's been preaching character, leadership, and team culture under Ryan Poles, suddenly take a chance on a guy with a bit of a reputation for being, let's say, fiery? This is where things get interesting. Because as much as this move is about filling a hole in the secondary, it might also be about something bigger, a shift in power, a signal that the coaching staff, led by Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, has more influence in personnel decisions than we've seen before. Let's rewind for a second. Ryan Poles has built his front office around one key principle: finding players with high character. He said it over and over again. That's why he passed on certain prospects during the draft, even if they were elite talents. Remember Jalen Carter? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Poles wanted to build a locker room with maturity, accountability, and discipline. So when you see the Bears bringing in a player like Gardner-Johnson, who's been traded, released, and moved around more times than most veterans, it raises eyebrows. But here's the thing, talent talks. And Gardner-Johnson can flat out play. Whether he's lined up at nickel, playing deep as a safety, or crashing the box in 3 safety sets, this guy brings energy, versatility, and edge. And let's not forget, Chicago's secondary needs immediate help. With Kyler Gordon out and Tariq Stevenson still nursing an injury, the Bears' defense has been stretched thin. Gardner-Johnson isn't just a Band-Aid. He's a player who can actually make a difference right now. It's almost poetic when you think about it. Remember back in 2020 when 2 Bears players, first Javon Wims and then Anthony Miller, got ejected for swinging at this exact same guy? Gardner-Johnson was wearing a Saints uniform back then, chirping, poking, getting under their skin. He's always been that guy who plays with fire, who talks, who baits you into mistakes. And now, 5 years later, the Bears are saying, you know what? We could use a little bit of that fire on our side. Talk about coming full circle. And honestly, that attitude might be exactly what this locker room needs right now. The Bears are sitting in a tricky spot this season. They've had flashes of brilliance, but inconsistency has been the name of the game. Injuries, missed assignments, and late-game collapses, it's been a roller coaster. Bringing in a player with Gardner-Johnson's intensity could spark something, a jolt of emotion, a reminder that you've got to play with passion every single down. Now, from a football standpoint, the fit makes a lot of sense. Gardner-Johnson spent 3 seasons under Dennis Allen when both were in New Orleans. He knows the system. He knows the language. He understands the responsibilities of that hybrid nickel safety role. That kind of familiarity means he can step in almost immediately without a massive learning curve. And if you're a Bears fan, that's exactly what you want to hear with guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the schedule this week. You need someone who's not afraid to get physical, who can hang with elite receivers, and who brings swagger to a defense that's been lacking some juice. Of course, this isn't a long-term guarantee. Gardner-Johnson's contract situation suggests this is more of a let's-see-how-this-goes move. But the timing says a lot. The Bears could have gone the conservative route, signed a quiet practice squad guy, and kept building slow and steady. Instead, they made a bold statement. They brought in a guy who's been through the fire, who's played in a Super Bowl, who's made big plays on the biggest stages. That's a win-now type of decision. And it feels like something that came more from the coaching staff side of the building than the front office. That's why this move has deeper meaning. It might be the clearest sign yet that Ben Johnson and his coaching group are asserting themselves more in roster management. Because if this were last year, under Matt Eberfluss's regime, there's almost no way a signing like this happens mid-season. Back then, Ryan Poles held the final say on personnel moves, and he probably would have said no. Too much risk, too much noise. But this time it feels different. It feels like the coaching staff stood up and said, "We need this guy. We've worked with him. We know what he brings. Let's make it happen." And look, the risk here isn't massive. You didn't trade draft capital. You didn't hand out a long-term deal. If it doesn't work out, you move on. Simple as that. But if it does work, if Gardner-Johnson brings leadership, playmaking, and that extra bite to the secondary, suddenly, the Bears look like a team that's not just trying to survive the season, but trying to make a real statement about the culture they're building. Now, we got to address the elephant in the room, his reputation. Gardner-Johnson has had a few run-ins over the years. Coaches have questioned his attitude. Teammates have clashed with him. Opponents absolutely love to hate him. But that's the duality of who he is. He's a competitor who plays on the edge. Sometimes that edge cuts too deep, but when it's harnessed the right way, it becomes a weapon. You can't teach that fire, and it's something the Bears have been missing since the prime days of players like Charles Tillman and Lance Briggs, guys who didn't just play defense, but set a tone. So here we are, mid-season, and the Bears are taking a calculated gamble. They're betting that Gardner-Johnson can come in, adapt quickly, and help stabilize a defense that's been fighting through injuries and inconsistencies. And maybe, just maybe, they're also betting that he's grown up a little. That after bouncing from team to team, after being cut, traded, and doubted, he's ready to prove himself all over again. Because this could be that moment. The one where a player with immense talent finally locks in and reminds everyone why he belongs in this league. From everything we've seen, Gardner-Johnson is already getting up to speed. He's familiar with Dennis Allen's system, and with the state of Chicago's secondary, he's almost certainly going to see the field right away. When you're choosing between depth guys and a proven playmaker who's hungry for redemption, that's not a hard decision. You might not know every bit of the playbook yet, but the Bears didn't sign him to sit. They signed him to make an impact, to bring some spark to a defense that's been searching for rhythm all season long. And that's what makes this move so fascinating. It's not just about filling a roster spot. It's about sending a message to the team, to the league, and maybe even to themselves that Chicago isn't backing down. They're willing to make bold moves. They're willing to take chances. And they're not afraid to bring in strong personalities if it means competing at a higher level. This could be the beginning of a new tone for the Bears, one that blends discipline with attitude, structure with swagger, and that's exactly what this fan base has been waiting for. The more you think about it, the more this move starts to feel like a turning point for the Chicago Bears. It's not only about the X's and O's. It's about identity. For too long, this team has walked the fine line between rebuilding and competing, never fully committing to one direction. Signing C.J. Gardner-Johnson sends a message that the organization isn't content with just surviving another season. They want to win. They want to compete. They want players who bring energy, passion, and that sense of urgency that's been missing from this locker room. And Gardner-Johnson, for all his controversy, has that in spades. Now, make no mistake, this isn't some reckless gamble. This move carries a certain logic that goes beyond raw emotion. Think about the timing. Chicago's secondary has been stretched thin with injuries, and opposing offenses have taken advantage. Bringing in a player who's seen it all, who's battled elite receivers week after week, instantly changes the tone. He's a guy who can talk on the field, who can challenge teammates in practice, and who can make sure nobody gets too comfortable. And for a young defense that's still learning how to win, that kind of veteran edge is invaluable. But here's what really stands out: the culture clash that everyone's wondering about. How will a strong personality like Gardner-Johnson fit into a locker room that's been built around discipline and composure? That's the million-dollar question. But maybe that's exactly what this team needs. A little disruption, a spark, a personality that refuses to accept mediocrity. Football teams can't all be choir boys. You need that one guy who talks, who backs it up, who forces everyone else to raise their game. And if he steps into that role, this could be one of the smartest mid-season moves the Bears have made in years. There's also the scheme fit, and it's almost perfect. Under Dennis Allen's system in New Orleans, Gardner-Johnson thrived as a hybrid defender, part nickel corner, part safety, part chaos generator. He lined up in the slot, blitzed off the edge, played deep zone, and even covered tight ends one-on-one. That versatility is exactly what the Bears have been missing since their defensive backfield started to crumble with injuries. With Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker holding down the safety spots, Gardner-Johnson can roam, react, and make plays. He's the kind of player who brings creativity to a defense, forcing opposing quarterbacks to think twice before throwing over the middle. And if we're being honest, the Bears haven't had that kind of playmaking presence in the secondary for a while. The last few seasons have seen flashes, a few interceptions here and there, a strip sack or two, but not the consistent energy that changes games. Gardner-Johnson brings that back. He's aggressive, unpredictable, and thrives in chaos. He can bait a quarterback into a bad throw or explode off the line and blow up a screen pass before it develops. Every snap with him feels alive, like something could happen, and that kind of energy is contagious. But as exciting as this is on paper, the success of this move depends entirely on how both sides handle it. For Gardner-Johnson, this is a reset button. After bouncing between teams, after hearing the whispers about his attitude, he's got the chance to prove that he can still be a cornerstone player on a defense. Chicago is giving him that shot, and the city itself is the perfect backdrop. Tough, passionate, and unforgiving. If he embraces the grind, plays his role, and lets his game speak louder than his mouth, he could end up being a fan favorite faster than anyone expects. For the Bears, it's about trust. Trusting that the coaching staff knows how to handle him. Trusting that this locker room is strong enough to absorb a big personality. And trusting that this risk will pay off where it matters most, on Sundays. Because the truth is, moves like this can go either way. If it clicks, everyone praises the front office for being bold. If it blows up, everyone questions why they ignore the warning signs. But great teams don't play scared. They take chances on talent, especially when that talent fills a glaring need. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what might be the most shocking twist of the NFL season, whispers around the league suggest that the Chicago Bears could be on the verge of reclaiming a title that was snatched from them under bizarre circumstances. Sources close to the league claim that the NFL has quietly acknowledged a gross error in a high-profile decision, one that may have altered the outcome of a championship game that Bears fans have been bitterly lamenting for. Years. While the league has remained officially tight-lipped, insiders hint that this isn't just any routine correction. This is about restoring a title to a team that was robbed of glory due to a mistake so glaring that it drew ire from players, coaches, and analysts alike. The murmuring started on social media, with former players dropping cryptic hints about justice finally being served and history being corrected. Rumor has it that the league office has spent months poring over game footage, statistics, and referee reports, eventually concluding that the Bears were denied a critical victory due to errors that were, frankly, inexcusable. While no formal announcement has been made, sources claim that discussions about officially awarding the title back to Chicago are ongoing, and that the move could happen sooner rather than later, potentially rewriting NFL history in one decisive stroke. Fans are already buzzing, some expressing cautious excitement, while others remain skeptical. Could this mean a retroactive championship parade for a city that has waited decades for football vindication? League insiders suggest that the Bears' locker room is quietly celebrating, with veteran players reportedly feeling vindicated. The story, however, is far from over. Speculation is rife about the ripple effects this could have on records, Hall of Fame considerations, and even player contracts tied to that disputed season. While the NFL has yet to release a statement, the rumor mill is working overtime. If true, this would not only be a historic course correction, but also a jaw-dropping reminder that even the most established sports leagues are fallible, and that sometimes justice can come years after the whistle blows. For Bears fans, the possibility of reclaiming their lost crown is a tantalizing whisper that has ignited a city's imagination and sent shockwaves through football circles nationwide. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.